Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, friend of Mitch McGarry's with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. It's a beautiful, wintry, snowy day here in Johnson City, and I'm excited because we've got a podcast guest who's come back, and I'm excited to hang out with Nathan Brand again. Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you, man.
Thanks for coming on the podcast twice.
Yeah.
Everybody else just goes on once, and you're like, that was the worst. Why? Why did I do that? And they never come back. But you are a glutton for punishment.
Well, and I love podcasts. I mean, I listen to a podcast anytime I'm doing chores or cleaning up or...
I listen all the time driving around. Yeah.
Well, I listen to this pod. I mean, I got to say, I was telling Mitch earlier, but it's such a great way to learn about what's happening in town.
It really is.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've learned so many new things from different people. I love just connecting this. This is what I like. Eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly. I'm getting to know you.
Yeah.
And what are you doing here in town kind of thing. And it's just so cool.
It is cool.
And then our listeners are listening and they're getting to know you, but they're not getting to see this awesome drip you got going on. You look like you just got off a horse in the middle of Wyoming. He came in with his beard just dripping with snow and looking like a mountain man. I love it.
That's funny. I just got back from Wyoming.
Look at this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I did.
Did you have Thanksgiving in Wyoming?
No, we were hunting. We got back in October, but we were out there for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, me and my friends, it was our second year.
Okay.
Hunting mule deer and antelope.
Mule deer and antelope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was...
Did you get a mule deer / antelope?
I did not. I come up dry 2 years in a row.
Uh-oh.
So I'm really...
Did you have a shot and you missed, or did you...
I passed on a very youthful buck.
Okay.
Which I feel good about.
Yeah.
But, still...
I think you're stewarding the land well. You're going to come back in a couple of years and he'll be ready.
Try to. That's the goal.
Right.
Somebody else probably shoot him.
Maybe. Never know.
Yeah.
So what did you eat for Thanksgiving then, if you weren't out in Wyoming hunting?
Oh, man, we had an amazing... a lot of families in the tree streets decided to just stay home, and we all have... So many of us have young kids. I have identical twin 5-year-old boys. So they're balls of energy, and the best thing for them to be happy is to play with other kids.
Sure.
So several families teamed up, and somebody had a breakfast at their house. Then we went over to somebody else's house for cocktails and snacks. I made chicken liver pate.
Ooh.
That was delicious.
I bet.
And then we all came to my house for a big afternoon feast.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a delight.
So you cook a lot. And then
I do. I recently renovated my kitchen a couple years ago to be able to film in and cook, large quantities of things.
Gotcha.
It's kind of a hybrid restaurant home kitchen.
So Thanksgiving is kind of a vacation day, but you weren't like, golly, it's Thanksgiving, I got to cook.
No,
you were more excited because you love
I'm
cooking.
thrilled.
That's awesome.
I think it's, I stopped being the chef at Timber a few years ago and let Josh Plush take that role, which he's done, better than I could have. And, but I still have that need to cook, and I get excited about new flavors and new ideas. And so it was fun. We had about 25 people in the house.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I made 20 pounds of mashed potatoes.
Oh, wow.
You always want to have leftovers.
You got to have leftovers.
3 turkeys, all different styles. And
Carly and I are still eating leftovers. It's Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Me too, man.
And they're so good. I love
a
cold turkey sandwich on just, a little toasted bread, Miracle Whip, because my dad always put Miracle Whip on there, a little lettuce, and it's just...
I'm a Duke's man.
You're a Duke's man?
But I make my own cranberry sauce, of course.
Okay, yeah.
And then I put that on one side, and on the other side. Yeah. I haven't had one this season because I'm out of bread. Well,
and I didn't do one just because we heated it all up again, and I was like, it's hot, I'm just going to go ahead and eat it.
I'm making that for lunch tomorrow, dude.
And my mom took our turkey bones, and there was a lot of meat and stuff left on it. Built a stock, made soup, brought it back over, so I had turkey soup for the last couple nights.
That's great.
Carly and I have been eating that with some beans and vegetables. It was so good.
It's the best.
So good.
Yeah.
It is, That's Carly's favorite, my wife's favorite holiday. She just loves Thanksgiving. And we love it too. We had about 13 people over. So
that's awesome.
It was just fun. It was really good.
One of my highlights
Neighbors too. Yeah, it was good.
I got some pies from Lazy Lady.
Ah.
Man.
I didn't know she made pies.
Every year. This is my 3rd year, I think, getting them. from her, and it just takes all the pressure off making those.
Well, we gave out 130 pies.
Oh, that's cool.
The Tuesday before Thanksgiving. To, like all past clients and friends and people.
Oh, that's great.
So it was just fun. Just seeing people come in and you give them a big hug and a pie, and it just goes well. It's just a great day. We had fun doing that.
That's awesome.
All right. You said probably 6 weeks ago, hey, I need to get on the podcast. I got a surprise happening.
Yeah. Well, it's
and you're gonna like release the surprise now.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I took a step away from timber, sold my equity back to my partners.
What?
Yeah, so I'm no longer a part of timber. Yeah,
you're just a customer.
I'm just a customer. I went in the other night. I was like, oh,
this hurts a little bit.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit, but nice to be a customer.
Yeah.
Just very grateful to, be able to go in and maybe a little more relaxed capacity instead of stressing about everything.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the impetus behind this? What got you going to
I had two amazing partners. We were in business together for 5 years.
Yeah.
But I wanted to strike out on my own.
Good for you.
So I started my own business.
What are we going to do?
Retail food store and wine shop next to the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, in the old acoustic next door space, the old venue.
The old acoustic coffee house is what it used to be, right? And is there still a laundry right there?
Yeah, that's on the other side.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So retail food and wine store.
So we'll do charcuterie, cheeses, wines, spices, olive oils, vinegars.
I love it.
Boutique products, beer.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I'm always looking at, what's available here versus what I am looking for in my life.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest product I was looking for was Benton's ham and bacon.
Oh, yeah.
It's really tough.
Which is local.
It's local, man. And, in the chef community, it's at least nationally famous, if not world famous.
It's tip top, isn't it?
Alan Benton is an amazing figure in the American food business and just a real, I don't know if I want to say pioneer or carrier on of tradition, but
purveyor
his
of
products
fine
are
hams.
Purveyor of fine hams. I have one in my house right now.
Hey, nice.
And you can't buy that in Johnson City, and I think that's a real shame.
That is interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
But his farm's like
it's in Maryville.
Yeah,
smokehouse. Yeah. It's just an hour and a half away, but it's not sold at any stores here.
Interesting.
So I started thinking about that, and then I started thinking about all these products that I've come to love over the years in various, restaurants or boutique stores. And there's just a huge list of them that we don't have here that I think people would kind of freak out about.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because there's some really amazing products out there.
Would somebody call you bougie, maybe?
Some people do, but I'm not. I don't think that I am.
I don't think I am.
I
just like bougie ingredients and bougie ham.
Well, I'm just a food nerd, and I love new things. I'm with new experiences.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Somebody would probably call me bougie. Carly calls me bougie.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll own it a little bit. But yeah, I think Benton's is bougie. But I can go to Gourmet and get it on a burger.
Yes, which is awesome.
It makes it so good.
It's so good.
Or if you have like a filet wrapped in Benton's bacon. I mean, it just takes it like to a whole nother level.
Absolutely. It's just an incredibly unique product, but also so representative of the region.
Yeah.
And there are so many great products here in the region. And
give us a little teaser, like what else is going to be in there besides Benton's bacon?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's see. There's several cheeses from North Carolina that I'm really interested in.
So kind of more regionally specific?
I would definitely... I try to focus on that.
Or would you bring some stuff in from, some really fancy stuff from all over the country?
I definitely tend to be more interested in American products. Okay. I think in large part because they tend to be a little bit more affordable. Mm-hmm. It can be really interesting to try something like an Iberico ham or an imported mustard or something like that. And I'll carry a few select of those. But I am more interested in the American products that just don't get the props that
that's
they
cool.
deserve, at least around here.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's neat.
Plus, you can go visit those places for a lot less money.
That's true.
Yeah, and I love a good field trip.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
Will you have samplings and that kind of thing too, so you can?
Yes, we will. We're gonna do tastings and
signing up.
Right?
Let's go. You have a sheet right now I can put my name on. Carly and I can come try some stuff?
Not yet. We're working on launching the website and the Instagram, but
When are we going to be live? When are we having this opening?
I am always loath to give any sort of timeline, but
Okay.
we are working very hard to make it happen.
2025?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not 2025, I give up.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So summer-ish, spring maybe?
I would love for it to be spring. That'd be amazing.
Spring would be great.
Mhm.
Okay.
But there's really, retail is having, built a restaurant with some folks, like there's a lot that goes into that. There's a hood vent, there's a grease trap, there's replumbing, there's, all kinds of things. Retail is a lot more simple.
Yeah.
We won't do prepared foods. And that way we will just, we won't be producing food. We'll just be sourcing it and
sampling.
Sampling and selling to you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I lived in Michigan, in Ann Arbor, Michigan for a couple years.
Oh, cool.
And there's an amazing store there called Zingerman's.
Zingerman's. Okay.
Yeah. And it's a very similar sort of vibe. They'll do sliced cheese and sliced meats and then they have all kinds of amazing dry pastas. They have a deli but it's a really amazing business, and that's a big inspiration for me, I feel.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How old were you when you lived in Michigan?
Well, it was about 10 years ago now.
Okay.
Yeah. Would have been
A young lad.
2014.
So how
I
old?
was 27.
So you're 27 then?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't
Yeah.
know if it was like a childhood kind of memory that, you'll smell something or see something and it just kind of sticks with you and you're kind of like, oh, I want to recreate that. That was great. We used to go to this chocolate place in Memphis. My grandmother would take us called Dinstall's.
Oh, cool.
And she'd send us a solid rabbit. And these things were as big as my hand now.
Yeah.
And they were dense, and we would like shave off a little bit of it every day and eat chocolate rabbit for months. I mean, like,
That's great.
it was so good. It was just, and you got these just memories in your head.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
Absolutely.
That'll be cool. Zingerman's.
Zingerman's. Yeah.
Got it.
And they're legendary. They have all kinds of different restaurants and food businesses all over the state, really.
Oh, that's cool.
But this Jewish deli and meat and cheese counter is really where they started.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful old building, and
That's
it's a
awesome.
real legacy business there.
Tell me about the wine part of it.
Yeah, so I'm really, really interested in making wine more accessible.
Okay.
Wine is always so stodgy.
Mhm.
I think the last time I came on the podcast, we talked a little bit about natural wine and how I had become much more interested in that. And my knowledge has, definitely grown in that time. It's been fun to read some books and
Yeah.
listen to podcasts, but also do a lot of tasting. So I've been traveling to Knoxville and
Okay.
Asheville for tastings and meeting folks.
That's fun.
One of the amazing things that I think Timber really was able to make happen was bringing some distributors in that didn't do business here before. And, Timber has all kinds of amazing wines on the list.
And some crazy cool cocktails too. So,
Oh man, yeah. Brandon is just a wizard back there.
Yeah.
But bringing those wines in and tasting with those reps and meeting the importers and the producers and those things over the years has been just so great. And I think they've come to see John City as a much more viable market for their products.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, which it was not 5 or 6 years ago.
No.
And other
Boone's Farm was big time here.
yeah, Bid's Farm. That's right.
And $2 Chuck.
That's right.
Yeah, we can drink a lot of that stuff.
That's right. So that the wine aspect, I think will, I think we'll have some of those more collectible, higher end bottles for
Okay.
sure. We'll have
Yeah.
those around, I guess.
Yeah.
But the main focus for me will be bottles under 20 and $30, things that are interesting, things that you've never had before.
But just excite your palate and light your mouth up when you.
Yeah. I think I certainly grew up, in the 90s thinking that wine was I don't know, just inaccessible.
Kinda
The level of knowledge in order to buy something.
Yeah.
You would buy it based on the label or the price or.
Yeah, and then you're like, that wasn't so great.
It wasn't so good.
And you're like, I'm not going to waste $30 this,
Yeah. So being able to, tell the story of why this wine exists
Yeah.
and how it was built and all those things would be really big values for us and keeping it affordable so you want to come in and try something new.
Well, for our listeners right now, what are some of the wines that you would suggest that they try that maybe aren't, just kind of fresh and new to you?
Yeah.
And just maybe hadn't heard of or seen on the shelf around here.
Okay, well, one, which you can find around here is Beaujolais Nouveau. Comes out every year.
Yeah.
It's from the Gourmet grape.
And do you have to, in that one, you don't want it aged, right?
That's right.
You want it to drink
That's
it
right.
right as it comes out.
That's right. And you drink the vintage as soon as it comes out. I mean, sometimes 6 months can be too much.
Yeah.
That one's always interesting, but it tends to be made with yeast that's added instead of natural yeast from the vineyard.
Interesting.
Which would be more of a tenet of natural wine, trying to use natural yeast from the fruit itself.
Sure.
And so I enjoy that, but taking it one step further, I would go to Beaujolais from one of the 10 villages of one of the crus. And there's each village, has different producers. And I find those wines really interesting. I went shopping for one the other day, really any cru Beaujolais the other day here in Johnson City, and couldn't find any.
Okay.
And they could be $30 a bottle.
Okay.
They're pretty affordable and interesting, perfect Thanksgiving
delicious
wine
kind of thing.
But I couldn't find any, and so I was like, oh well, I knew I was probably going to do this, but no, I'm definitely going to carry this.
That was a confirmation. We got to do this.
And that's a classic from one of the world's best regions, most interesting regions. But there's all kinds of winemakers that are pushing the envelope and doing really interesting stuff there. Another one that we played around with a little bit at the restaurant was Lambrusco.
Lambrusco. Okay. Where's that from?
That's from Italy.
Okay.
I believe it's from the Piedmont region, so more northern. And that is a sparkling red wine that can often be overly sweet, like too viscous and just kind of cloying. But some producers out there are just making these really varying in style from lighter to darker and heavier wines that are naturally fermented and just really interesting. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like a dark red sparkling. That would be kind of cool.
It's amazing. It's perfect for Thanksgiving or Christmas or, any sort of party. It's like winter champagne.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's just,
That's neat.
Yeah, that's just one.
That is cool. Yeah. And there are how many vineyards out there? Hundreds of thousands of them?
It's definitely tens of thousands.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah, for sure.
Producing millions of bottles a year. It just blows your mind. In my mind, I'm like, how does the Lord make that much wine every year? Like, we don't run out, right? There's plenty of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And same with food. Like every day, I'm like, this is amazing that I get to eat, and somebody, harvested this for me to be able to buy it and eat it. And it's every day. It's like a nonstop thing. It's crazy.
Well, there's so many of those special sort of handmade or, very well-crafted products out there that, aren't available here that we plan to carry.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited to come check out your store.
It's going to be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, is Diana, your wife, involved in this project? Does she kind of like all these meats and cheeses as well? Or is she just kind of like sitting back and letting you do your thing?
She does. Well, certainly both.
Okay.
But she's extremely supportive. And she loves getting to try new things with me.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm going to be carrying is tinned fish. The generalist carries maybe one or two.
Okay.
But there's, hundreds of different amazing tinned fish products out there. She's not a fan.
I'm not either. My grandfather was English, and he would eat kippers. And
oh, yeah.
And I was just like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
He made me eat one, and I was like, that's all right.
Well, my kids love them.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They are huge fans.
That's cool.
My son, Everett, the other day was upset because we ate all the tinned octopus.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted some. Yeah.
Speaking of that, it brought it back in memory. I opened the refrigerator at my grandparents' one time, and there's this like Tupperware container, and it was white, and I was like, what's in there? Maybe Cool Whip or something. I opened it up, and it was a cow's tongue that had been like swirled up in there that they were going to do something with.
Was it raw, or had they poached it yet? Usually it's poached.
Don't remember. I was just like, what is that? That's a big like snake. It was huge.
Awesome.
And I was like, that's crazy. And say, oh yeah, your grandfather likes cow's tongue or something. I was like,
that's really cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because new flavors and textures, really, having been in the restaurant business for 23 years now, can be hard to find something that I haven't had.
Right.
And so that kind of stuff gets me excited.
And then you're kind of like, what's going to be something weird I'm going to try and mix together? You can get a little off. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do you miss being at Timber on the daily?
I gotta be honest, no. I miss working with such amazing people.
Sure.
Because they really are such an amazing staff there
Right.
and so skilled.
Yeah.
They did not really need my help that much, you
Right.
know, or my guidance. You know, they've been around for so long, and we have had such high retention there that they were just able to, I think, thrive.
Yeah.
At least, you know, I hope so.
Maybe if you don't mind, we can push in and talk a little bit about how did you know it was time to step away?
That's a great question.
Because it sounds like it was running like a top. And from my brain, I'm going, hey, that's a source of income. Why, you know, and I'm part of it. I help create it, help get it going. Why would I want to step away from that? Or why would I, you know, talk about that.
Yeah. Well, probably the biggest reason was I wanted to go into business for myself. That was the direction that I wanted to grow.
And you felt like if you did another project, you'd be hamstringing them a little bit, or it wouldn't be fair maybe, or equitable.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I would always want to make sure that, you know, kind of comes first.
Yeah.
So that was definitely part of it. That's probably the biggest part.
Okay.
The other part is that the restaurant business is a tough business, you know, no matter how successful you are.
Yeah. What are the odds too, like on a restaurant? Isn't it like?
Oh, it's pretty low.
Yeah. Like 90% of them failed in the first
say that's
2
about
years
right.
or something like that.
I would say that's about right. And if I had done it by myself, we certainly would have failed. But having such amazing partners,
right,
and such amazing people that worked with us, we were able to thrive.
Right.
But that takes, you know, a lot of skill. I had been in the restaurant business for 20 some years. My partner had also been in the restaurant business for 20 some years. So it's a lot of experience. I think at one point we had 100 years experience between the senior leadership team and the owners.
That's awesome.
I mean, but that's the recipe for success. You
right.
know, if you haven't done it before, you're going to be blindsided.
Right.
Yeah. Other reasons that I wanted to do to step away, I think, you know, the restaurant business being a hard business is not just about the finances, which I think, you know, the restaurant is thriving, but it's also about just what can go wrong. It's doing I guess maybe, I don't want to call timber fine dining, but nice casual dining.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, if something goes wrong, you have to call 150 people and tell them that we're closed. You know, if the air conditioning breaks or there's no heat, or the city accidentally cuts your water. These are all very real examples.
Right. And now they finally got the road looking beautiful in front of timber. You're stepping out, you know, it's like, because you guys dealt with, it was like a war zone for so long.
It was.
It looks great now though. The city's finally done a good job.
It does.
I think they thought, hey, we'll just put in a new road and some new water lines. And they were like, oh wait, all this stuff's from like 1900. We're gonna have to start totally over, and we're sorry, but
yeah, it does look quite nice. It's just waiting on a couple of finishing touches in our section.
Yeah, it looks great. They've done a really good job with that.
Yeah, I'm excited for it to be done.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to spend more time with my kids, man. I mean, my wife's a child psychologist, and so two things: I lose every argument.
Yeah.
And she's always right about, like, let's spend more time with the kids. And I think that's just really all the mentors that I've ever had in my life have said, hey, don't miss these moments. My kids are only 5. And that's just a huge value for me, and it has already paid off.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I was listening to a podcast earlier about guys in my industry, like mega agents. These guys are selling hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, just like crazy numbers. And but they would never go back and say, I wish I'd sold another house as opposed to spending more time with your child. Or if you flipped it and said, hey, boys, you know, do you wish Daddy worked more? You know, did you wish he put in another shift at Timber that night or wherever? Absolutely. No, they're going to be like, I want to hang out with Dad all the time, you know.
Exactly.
I want to spend time with my parents, and I want to go to Wyoming with him. And
and they definitely will one day.
Mule deer and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've been taking them mountain biking and camping, and they're playing soccer, which was my sport.
And it goes by like that. I mean, all the old guys tell you it's a blink of an eye, and it is, Nathan. I mean, mine are 21 and 18, and and I'm sure they're like, oh, Dad was gone a lot selling houses. You know, ours is all over the place all the time. And I think that's probably one of my, you know, regrets, is working a little too much.
Totally.
To try and provide for them, like, I want to give you the best that they can.
Of course.
That we can, and just provide. But yeah, it's a balance, and you got to kind of walk it.
It is, but it's so rewarding. I think
it is.
Can be a tough choice. It was definitely a tough choice for me.
Sure.
But it's only been a couple months, and I'm, I already get to spend more time with them, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I was reading another book. This one came back a while back, but you can't be in balance, right? You're either with your wife talking to her, or you're at work thinking about work. Now you can kind of get closer a little bit, or, but you're always on one side of the line or the other. And so how do you hop back on the line or hop back, and so looking at how often am I spending time on the important relationships as opposed to the work stuff, and, could be non-important stuff.
Absolutely.
I forgot to ask you the number one question. I mean, you've answered it before, I think, but let's hit you again. What do you love most about Johnson City?
Oh, I think it's the people.
Yeah. Over and over.
Over and over. I think there's a very special magic with just the community of those of us that have invested in the city. Maybe we started a business, maybe we've been involved in, organizations or whatever it might be. There's a lot of those people, and you have a lot of them on your pod.
Yeah.
Which I listen to all the time.
Which I really appreciate.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I learn about new businesses all the time. I learned about Feisty Pigeon. I'm excited to check them out when they open.
Yeah.
So, but that group of people that, are invested here in some way and love it here.
Yeah.
Especially for me, the Tree Streets, a lot of young families move to that neighborhood around the same time, and there's a real community there. My kids will go to Southside next year, and that is very, very rewarding. I grew up in the suburbs way outside of Atlanta. I just didn't have that same vibe.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't really geographical community, it was more ideological community, which can be nice.
Yeah.
But just having neighbors and people to hang with is, and just watching your kids grow up together. My kids just hit the age where the adults can grill and talk, and they go play.
Yeah.
And I remember those times from when I was a kid.
Right.
And, the dads have the game on and got some beers and
just grilling and chilling.
The kids are playing soccer.
And you hop over, let's throw some Frisbee and play some football.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's really magical. So
that's awesome.
It's cool.
I enjoy Southside. We, our boys went there for a little bit, and it was a good spot. I still know the song in my head. Southside.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Oh, you'll be singing it.
Yeah, I'll be
every Friday. They have what is it? Assembly or something. And yeah, it's really good. You'll enjoy the song.
That's awesome.
It's so good. So we got through the new shop coming up, which I'm excited about. And you said you've been hunting a lot. Has that been a new thing?
I have. It has been a new thing. Yeah. I got really interested in it. I never grew up hunting.
I didn't grow up
wasn't really my
much
thing.
either. We went bird hunting once or twice.
Yeah.
That was about it, and didn't get anything. I don't think.
Yeah.
I like fishing. My dad took me fishing some, but
fishing. I mean, that
come
is,
on. Yeah.
I think that, the older you get, that you kind of need to have these activities like golf or tennis, something that you can enjoy well into your later years. And, hunting has definitely become that for me in this season.
How'd you get into hunting?
I had one of my best friends just lives down the street from me, has kids similar age. And we both kind of looked at each other and we're like, maybe we should do this. And it's been really fun. We started out.
His eyes kind of lit up. Maybe we should do this. Well, let's just go kill something.
Well, it's really like, it's like camping with guns. I mean, what could be more fun?
Have you grown up with guns?
No.
Okay.
I never did. No, definitely not.
So there's a barrier to overcome a little bit.
There's a lot of knowledge, and, a lot of safety to learn. And I'm an Eagle Scout, so we definitely shot shotguns and 22s and things like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So you had a little bit.
Yeah. But
long range, high caliber rifle is a little different.
It's a little different. But it's very rewarding because I think, especially as, someone that trained as a chef for so many years, you get to a certain point where I'm a little bit bored with beef.
Sure.
It is good.
Yeah.
I had the A5 Wagyu at Juniper a few weeks ago. It was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But
we did that one.
I get really more excited about venison, or last Christmas I smoked a whole antelope leg with the bone in.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's very exciting. And I think it's also, you're harvesting your own food. You're providing for your family in that way.
Yeah.
And that has turned out to be something that I was kind of ambivalent about at the beginning. And now I'm really passionate about. And I think it's a great tradition. It's a skill. And learning whole animal butchery is a really great skill.
Are there YouTube channels about this kind of stuff?
Endless.
Like, cause I'm going, I don't, you see a lot of hunters go out and they love the hunting part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then they kill it and they clean the deer and they take it back. But then I haven't watched, and so you're saying they're endless ones, but I would wonder if there's like a synergy there where a high profile chef, such as yourself, can show these guys who just killed a deer.
Yeah.
How do we prepare this in a way that we've never thought about that's just unbelievably delicious? Is that stuff you're doing in your kitchen and videoing?
I haven't filmed anything like that yet, but I definitely see that in my future.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
I think it would be really cool. There's all kinds of amazingly qualified people out there doing that.
Yeah.
But we've had a really interesting time just trying to use one new ingredient every time.
Oh, that's cool.
So maybe we fed the liver to the dog the first time, and now we're going to cook the liver when we go camping in a couple weeks.
Oh, that's
trying to learn how to, what are the recipes that the family loves, that the kids love, that we can, make for everybody and are good for parties or good for a weeknight, things like that.
Gotcha.
We made a venison neck roast the other day with the bone on. It was unbelievable. So that was really good.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding pursuit.
Now, did you prepare the antelope yourself? Did you clean it and do all that and quarter it?
It wasn't my antelope that I shot.
Okay.
But I was there for the quartering, and we brought it back brought that quarter back in a cooler.
Okay.
And babied it.
Yeah.
And we butchered it up and smoked it. It was incredible. I made a chimichurri to go with it. It was delicious.
That's super cool.
It's so cool to try, different flavors.
And your friend's like, yeah, this was a good idea. We were drinking beer over a grill, and look at where we got now. We're eating antelope.
100%, man.
How cool was that?
Yeah, it's
total fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you brought it all together.
Well, it's actually I've never been I've always been interested in whole animal butchery and buying whole animals for a restaurant, and I've participated in a couple pig butcheries and things like that. But I recently found a local lamb supplier, and they're going to sell me a whole lamb. I'm going to take it home and butcher it myself. So I think that's, it's just a really fun skill for me. Like I said, I like new things. So finding something new.
Will you include the boys in that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They had a request when I went to Wyoming. They wanted the heart. So we brought them back an antelope heart. And
wow.
Yeah, it's in the freezer right now, but we're going to cook.
What are you going to do with an antelope heart?
When I was in the field, I made antelope heart tartare with some raw egg yolk and some Dijon mustard, some parsley, some scallion, black pepper, garlic.
So you just slice it up raw.
Yeah.
Put a little raw egg on it. And
then eat it.
And just delicious.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're just out in the field, it's 30 degrees and long day of hunting.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
It was, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Rewarding. Yeah.
That's super fun.
Yeah.
What would be some advice you give to somebody who thinking about starting a restaurant? You've done that one. How would you help somebody along the route there? Or let's go that way first, and then we'll talk about maybe keeping it interesting. And then, like we talked about, the transition out, at some point.
I think, people have asked me this question, and my answer always changes as I grow and I evolve.
Yeah, I think I probably asked it to you a couple of years ago when you were on here, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. And, there's some really famous advice out there from David Chang, which is don't do it. Just
don't just run the other way.
Do not do this. And that's from one of the most successful American chefs of the last 20 years. I think one thing that I would learn is that if you're looking to maybe build financial independence, having a restaurant might be the very first step in that, just to give you a platform. But then you're going to find yourself looking at TV deals, book publishing, opening a second location of the same restaurant, opening a new restaurant. You're going to need to grow a lot in order to hit the financial goals that my guess is you're trying to hit.
Sure.
One restaurant is almost certainly never going to do that for you.
Gotcha.
Restaurants, one thing for people that are thinking about restaurants is restaurants are inherently not scalable. So I think we live in a world where scalability is really valued. Mm-hmm. That's what VCs look for. That's what most startups are looking to do. Mm-hmm. So many of them utilize the internet to do that. That's smart. If you can find a niche doing that and you're trying to make some money, I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people like me, I found myself in the restaurant world when I was 14, and it was just such an amazing, dynamic place. And it was really good for my work style. I love to work intensely, do something almost meditative, like peel a bunch of potatoes or
snap a bunch of beans.
Yeah, I just find a lot of joy in that.
Yeah.
And I think, if you like that kind of work, that can be really good for you.
Right.
But I think, I was in the restaurant business so long, I never saw any other avenue for my creative outlet.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, well, this is what I'll do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope that helps people that are thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to go into it without any experience. If
go learn somewhere else, make some mistakes on somebody else's dime. See if you're passionate about it, right?
Absolutely.
And find your passion part of it, because if you're not passionate, it's not going to work.
Absolutely. I think also, though, to be perfectly honest, like post-COVID, the prices of the products that we were buying just kept going up and up and up and up, and the customer's ability to pay more for them stayed relatively the same.
Yeah.
So that was a tough balance. Now, I think we navigated it really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were hitting best in industry numbers, best I've ever seen for percentages of making sure the business is profitable, which has to be, priority number one in a lot lot
You got to keep the doors open.
Got to keep the doors open. But those products are volatile. Wine can go up by several dollars a bottle every year.
Meat prices can go up dramatically.
Yeah, and they go up more around this time of the year, things like that. Those can be hard unless you have someone very skilled at navigating those price increases and changes. You got to be looking at those numbers almost every day to make sure you're in balance.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, there's a lot to it.
It is wild. But yeah, if you can meet all those requirements, then I encourage you to
go for it.
Go for it, especially here.
What do you feel like? Let's say somebody's listening and they're like, I do want to start a restaurant in Johnson City.
Yeah.
What do you feel like we're missing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we don't have quite enough. I know we have a lot of pizza, but I don't think we have quite enough local pizza.
I have a buddy who's from Boston, and he's like, our pizza's terrible here.
Yeah.
I'm used to New York. Good, just I think the crust is where, the New England crusts are just better. And he's like, pizza's here terrible.
Well, I love going to Italian Pizza Pub.
Okay.
Scratch just reopened, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
But, there's Main Street Pizza downtown.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I think there's real room for a Neapolitan, like cooked in 90 seconds, stone oven type thing.
We don't have one.
We don't have one. And I think if I was going to open a restaurant, that's what I would do, for sure. Ramen would be amazing.
Ooh.
That would be really good.
Yeah.
I would love something like that. We used to do a ramen broth at Timber during COVID, and that was like a very steadying broth.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Just kind of hearty. You can throw all kinds of different stuff in there.
We put Benton's bacon ham hocks in there. It was like, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was good.
So that's a good one. It's been, having Juniper now has been so cool.
Yeah.
But I definitely think more casual places.
Yeah.
I think that's even a fast casual. I love what Nikki's doing over at Groovy Grover's.
She's hilarious,
so good,
man. I think she has twice the energy that we've had on the show ever. Like, just that lady is like so fired up all the time. I loved it.
That's amazing.
She's a wild one. Like, just.
I went to a party that she catered the other day, and just the food was just exceptionally good.
Carly and I went by there. It was delicious.
Yeah. I love having fast casual places like that.
And it's healthy. Like,
so healthy. Yeah, you feel amazing.
You feel good after eating it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Although I ate too much of it because it was so good.
Yeah.
You can get sick on healthy food.
That's right.
Overindulged. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think of what else. I'm excited about Feisty Pigeon opening the wine bar.
Yeah.
That's going to be really cool and interesting.
Cool. I'm excited to see that too.
I think, apart from concept, I also think location is really important. I think there's a lot of room on Walnut Street to put a pub of some kind, something like that.
Yeah.
Pub with food.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mulligan's. Mm-hmm. Fish and chips is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Bartender's hilarious.
There, that was good. He's hilarious. Yeah, good spot.
And then more downtown places as well.
And I'm I'm over North Johnson City, kind of, and kind of near Carrabba's.
Yeah.
You got Carrabba's and you've got Aubrey's. There's not a lot over there. We go to Barbaritos all the time because we love Barbaritos. It's just down the hill from my office anyway, so I eat there a lot for lunch. But
Yeah.
I think we're missing. We got we do have Juniper over.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is not. Yeah, they're tip top, but I think there's still like a little bit of a desert there. Especially if you go all the way over to like where the Cracker Barrel is. It's kind of the Cracker Barrel and Bob Evans.
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
There's
that's
nothing
true.
there. And there are a lot of people in Gray and Boone's Creek area
That's
that would
true.
probably be looking for something. The miso place is kind of nice. We go there occasionally.
Yeah.
Around the corner from Zach's Furniture. But yeah, I think location is key.
I
Got
think
to figure it out.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of room. I think, I mean, we've never seen ourselves as competing with anyone. I think the more restaurants there are in an area, I think the better they all do.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they're just people like synergy. You guys work off each other.
Exactly.
Encourage each other.
And people like to go downtown and have options.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens over the next few years. I think we'll see some more.
I agree.
Places open and.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's something I forgot to ask you that you wish I had that you'd like to? Anything that you're like, hey, I had this in my brain. I needed to share with our listeners.
I think that's a good question. I think I would just, it's the gratitude season. I would just say how grateful I am. My time at Timber was really special.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be a civilian for a while, be a muggle. And it's really nice to take a break and be with my family this holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful for, this phase of my career and excited and nervous to open my own business. No partners.
Sure.
I set up my QuickBooks the other day. I was an English major, so that's a big achievement for me. So, that's been really rewarding and really special. And, all the amazing people that I got to work with at Timber, they crush, Yeah. It was not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of them.
Yeah. That's awesome. And it's cool that you can leave well and come back,
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
It didn't go sideways and you're
100%.
still friends and you get to go eat there. And
Yeah.
I think it sounds like you did it really well. What's your favorite Christmas tradition from history and from you growing up? Like, when you think of Christmas?
Oh, that's funny. I was thinking about this the other day because, we're trying to create our own traditions with our kids. Let's see if I can think of a better one, but I'll give you this one first. It was the chocolate oranges.
Oh, yeah.
You know those things?
My dad, Terry's chocolate orange.
Yeah.
Loved them. Yeah. Still gets them occasionally.
It sounds like your grandfather was British.
Yeah.
My parents were mega Anglophiles, and I think it's a British thing.
Yeah. My mother's English, and so, yeah.
I've never seen one in a store, but I might order them online for the kids. I think they'd get a kick out of it.
Yeah. I think we brought one. We were in London this summer, and my dad ate one there. And I bought him one because I was like, hey, yeah, I remember you eating these. They're fantastic. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll have to keep an eye out for you.
I don't know. My favorite Christmas tradition growing up.
It's Christmas morning, getting up.
Christmas Eve, opening I don't know if you did this. Christmas Eve, we would open one present.
Yeah.
And it couldn't be the marquee present. That was clearly the biggest or the shakiest,
it's like
the loudest.
Aunt Martha's pajamas or something,
But at least you got that taste.
That's right. Yeah. Like I'm ripping paper open, I'm getting some.
Yeah, as a kid,
Yeah. Yeah. We go to Carly's families on Christmas Eve and the nieces and girls come over and they're like just wild bandits. And we open we do Christmas Eve for them and we just do the whole thing. And it's just so much fun because they're going nuts just going through the presents and it's just a lot of fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember my dad's aunt, she was old. She would make boiled custard and it was so good. Oh my gosh.
Vanilla?
Yeah, like you just eggs and you're stirring and stir. She said, "Oh, I'm stirring this forever." You basically
in a double boiler.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
my dad would add a little bourbon to it.
Absolutely,
because they would call it flavoring. He told me later it was bourbon. And I was like, I gotcha. Yeah. So we drive from here to Jackson. They lived in Jackson, Tennessee. We'd spend Jackson. We'd have dinner with them in Jackson on Christmas Eve. And we'd have boiled custard, which was delicious. And then we'd load up in the car and drive the rest of the way to Memphis to where my grandparents were. And you'd always hear on like NPR, they'd be listening. They're like, "Oh, we've seen an unidentified flying object over Wyoming and bring it all back. And it's moving at a rate and you're like, what's going on? Is it Santa? You know, they're like, oh, you just got chills.
My dad got on the roof one year.
Oh.
We had a ranch, a little rancher, and so it was easy to get on the roof.
Yeah.
But I thought it was the reindeer for sure.
Yeah.
It was a genius.
Take some bill.
I got genius move.
You going to get on the roof?
I think I might.
That might be.
It's a metal roof, so I'm a little...
Be careful.
Maybe I'll just like throw something on it.
Just buy a bunch of bells and throw them up there.
100%.
That'll be fun. That'll be so much fun. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas, and I'm sure the boys are going to be fired up for it.
Thank you. They're not going to see this, so I can say that I got them coonskin caps for Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're going to freak out.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's like a BB gun for a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be super fun.
Yeah, they're going to be excited.
That'll be awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast again.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You're
Thanks for
welcome
having me.
anytime you want.
Thank
We could
you.
just make you a regular. You could be a co-host. We'll just
I'm
throw you
in. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I think it'd be good. We could bring some other restaurateurs over, and you can like really grill them.
It's so cool. I mean, there's so many people out there with such amazing stories here in this town.
Ooh, this would be good. Who are some good suggestions? Or we can like send it to them and be like, hey, you want to come on? Nathan was on there.
Well, I don't know if you had the Juniper crew on.
We haven't.
That I would love to hear that.
Okay.
I would love to hear the Miso Teriyaki crew
Oh, yeah.
because they've seen so much success and
Yeah.
they're doing drive-through
Yeah.
and they really thrived during COVID. And I would be really interested. They seem like very smart business people.
That place is hopping all the time.
Yeah, it's great. Trying to think of Marin. I don't know if you've had her.
We
on.
have with Lazy Lake.
I'll have
She's
to
great.
listen to that.
Oh,
She's
man.
so cool.
Yeah, she is super cool.
It's my kid's favorite place. They asked to go there.
Mm.
So special,
So good.
to have something like that.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
World-class bakery right down. I
It's
mean,
unbelievable.
it is unbelievable.
Yeah,
We live in the best place in the world.
it's pretty nice.
So I would call it God's country. Well, thank you so much. Till next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group. If you want to move here, hang out with Nathan on the regular, come visit his new shop that's going to be opening in sometime 2025. I would love to make that happen for you. If you want to invest in real estate, build wealth that way passively, you should buy a house now, Nathan. We rent it out for you for the next 15 years. Your kids go to college, we sell it, and it
Love
pays for
that.
college.
I'm already in the rental game, baby.
See, there you go.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
yeah, I
Keep
love
it
it.
rolling. It's a great way to build wealth. So anyway, thank you all for listening. Hope you have a Merry Christmas.